Flosstube friends. My name's Wendy. Welcome to Wendy's Whimsical Stitches. Today is Tuesday, April 30th, 2024, and this is Flosstube number 7. This is my channel about cross stitch and any other crafty endeavors I venture into, which is really not a lot. I just completed my first wool applique, and I'll talk about that in a little while, but cross stitch is my focus and my passion, and I've started doing some wood painting in the past year, and that's fun. I enjoy it, but there isn't a whole lot of other crafty things that I get into, so cross stitch is my focus for this channel. So thank you to my returning viewers. Thank you for joining me today if you're new. I've also had an increase in subscribers, which was surprising to me. I appreciate the new subscribers clicking on the thumbs up and joining me. I have a feeling some of those came from Always in Stitches, and thank you again, Peter, for mentioning me. That was just, I was blushing. I was kind of embarrassed. I'm not used to being put on the spot, and I mean, that's not being put on the spot. It's just, you know, a different platform. To me, this is still public speaking, which is very hard for me to be in front of people, and here I am in front of you, and I can't see you, but it's difficult. So each time I start one of these videos, I have to take a lot of deep breaths and really feel ready, and I still don't feel ready. I feel like I start talking and I forget about so much that I want to say, and I'm just in a hurry to to end this and finish it. But I'll try to really pace myself, and it's a learning experience for me. So along with the 300 subscribers, I have a few giveaways today. I'm not going to put them at the end. I'm going to just disperse a few throughout the video. I thought I'd do 3, one for each 100 subscribers I have. What else? Also, thank you for all the kind words from my last video, my return to Flosstube. I really appreciate people leaving really kind comments and supporting, you know, our youth today. Being a youth is very difficult, and being a parent for those youth is even more difficult. We just never know the direction that our lives are going to go, and I'm just glad that I have faith in one God that will lead me through it and is with me through it. Okay, let's see. I have notes, and that's why I keep looking down, not because I don't want to look at the screen here. I just feel like this last month has been very productive, and it's been great with all the productivity I have, but there's been other things going on, and I don't want to rattle on about my life when you want to look at cross stitch stuff. Well, okay, I'll try to remember. I'm going to look at my calendar every now and again just to kind of put a basis on where I'm at time-wise for what I worked on. But I will talk about my fully finishes first. Since my last video, which was the end of March, I have had 13 fully finishes, and this includes 3 starts that I fully finished. I had 1 start and finish, 1 birthday start. It was my birthday month last month. Well, actually, it's still this month, April. And I had 1 just a regular start. The birthday start was actually on my birthday. I had 2 finishes, and I had started my wool applique, and I fully finished that. And I think I only had like one work in progress that I didn't finish. That was a would go. Okay, so let me go back to the end of March after I had made my Flosstube. I had just started working on Little House Needleworks Little Sheep Virtues. I had completed 1, I believe. Let's see. No, I had that wrong. I had just started working on the one for April, which was Faith, I think. Yes, it was Faith, this one here. And then going into May, I had worked on, well, I started and finished Love. And I guess I can just tell you now, my plan for May is to go over here and it will be Hope. To clear off there. And these have only been taking me about 3 days, and it's not really concentrating on them very much. I want to say I'm stitching this on 28 count mushroom. I may not have that right. It's a Jobelin, I think, an even wave. I do have all the buttons, embellishments that are included, and I'll leave those all on until the end. Sorry for the noise. There goes my calendar on the floor. My dog is right here. One of my dogs, Kodiak. You gonna get your nose in? Say hi. I know other people have started really venturing into more linens, and I've always used to like stitching on linen, but I've had a lot of linen lately where not a lot of slubs in it, but just the linen threads have been so thin and hair-like. It's not only not letting my stitches lay evenly and look good, but they're hard to see, and I'm just not enjoying working on linen. I'm heading more into the even weaves again, even though I don't think that you can find 36 count, 40 count even weave. I really don't stitch on those a lot, but for what's available, I'm going to try to stick to just 28, 32 count, just because the linens aren't my cup of tea lately. Okay, let me get back on track to my Foley finishes. All right, let me start with this Busy Bee Pinball by Praiseworthy Stitches that I had shown on last month's Flosstube. And here is her cover photo of it. This turned out really cute. It turned out better than I thought. When I was working on it, I was getting so aggravated. There are two parts to this, and you basically do a circle finish. The way I do circle finishes, I put batting down. Well, this has polyfill in it. So what you would do is you would lay your stitching face down, and then you would put it included this was a foam core round disc that was included in the kit. And then you put your running stitch around the stitching, that makes sense, the fabric, and then so you would pull it tight, but they want you to put a lot of stuffing in here to make it round. Well, I had made the mistake of putting interfacing on this. The linen was really thin, and I thought that interfacing would give it some, it wouldn't make it so see-through, and then you couldn't see the stuffing through it. Well, that made it stiffer. So when I went to gather the into a, yeah, I'm not explaining this correctly. It's so hard to describe. When I went to gather up a stitch to pull it against the foam core, it kept wanting to spring open because of the interfacing. So I had my 10-year-old come and put his finger on the string that I was pulling so I could tie it off. Um, when you say don't let go to a 10-year-old, well, at least my 10-year-old, all he heard was let go. And so it sprung open. I think it was the third or fourth time finally got that tied. So when you have your two half circles, then you put them together, and I stitched them. I think the directions call for actually like stitching them, which is under this ribbon. And my circles aren't even, or half circles. This front side is a little bit bigger. That's why this ribbon is kind of gathered up here and puckered. But the directions were easy to follow. It was just a matter of I shouldn't have put the interfacing on, and it was just challenging trying to do it with just my two hands. I needed obviously another pair of hands. But this ribbon was included in the kit, and this was the Busy Bee pinball that was a market exclusive last year. It's by Praiseworthy Stitches. Did I just say that? But everything was included, and I put a year charm up here. All right, so that was the first one. What did I work on next for finishing? Strawberry Faire by October House. Is it Fiber Arts? October House Needleworks. I had stitched this last year as part of Helen D's Stitch Along, and I just didn't fully finish it until this year. I didn't stuff it real tight. I wanted it just kind of loose, and I used polyfill with the, I put, I don't know, maybe a 1/4 cup of the poly pellets in here. I really wanted to fully finish it after I had seen Jane and Julie's Delightful Details video. I had watched it again. I had watched it years, was it 2 years ago that they did that? I'll put the link in the description below, and try not to wobble this around as I'm talking. Anyways, I had watched that when they had first filmed it, recorded it, and I knew I had wanted to do some ruching on one of my pillows, and Julie had shown another pillow that she had ruched, and I was just like, I need to get out my Strawberry Faire and do the ruching on that. And I had watched Vonna Pfeiffer's video and Misty Purcell's video on ruching, and I even watched some other just, I don't know what to call them, embellishment videos from non-cross-stitchers. And the best video that I had seen where it was right close up on the piece that she was working on was Julie's Delightful Details. And that's Jane and Julie running with scissors. Anyhow, it took about one package of the Lady Dot Creates ribbon, and I had done this in peony. I did the little bow, and I think this is now I can't think of the name. Lighthearted? I think it's part of the Lighthearted collection. All right, so that's Strawberry Faire, and I had stitched this with the recommended threads and recommended cloth. I can't remember what it was. I want to say it was a 30 count from Weeks Dye Works, which is a whole nother story. It turned out fine. I didn't enjoy that 30 count cloth. I don't know if cloth gets loose from sitting on a store shelf for a long time, but that's how it felt. It felt like it was just old fabric that had just lost it. I don't like stitching on really stiff fabric, but that was just the threads themselves just were not Again, it's one of those things hard to describe. Anyhow, I love how it turned out. It looks great. These, actually I'll go with this. My little dough bowl. I had stitched these last year. This is Cherry Hills Freebie from 2023. Yeah. I put a year charm on there. And again, I think it was a lighthearted collection. I used some of the fabric on the back, and I just used some baker's twine that might have come from, I don't know, could have been from Michael's, Joann, or Hobby Lobby. And this is Emily Call's freebie from, I think that was last year also. At the time she went by Salt and Pepper Stitch Company. Now she's Emily Call. And she had shown this with the in the heart shape, and I just found a free template online that I cut out. You know, it's not perfect, but I didn't expect it to be. I had never made a heart-shaped pillow before. And again, I just tied some twine at the top there. Just some gingham fabric. And these 3 pillows are from Love Note series from With the Needle and Thread. I would have to take the little pattern apart to know what each of these are called. And I just use some mini palm trim here. With this one, I add a little bit more of the poly pellets. They're still, most of these are poly filled. I had questioned using walnut shells on Instagram. I mean, we live in Mississippi in the deep south. It's humid, and my storage isn't really climate controlled. It's our walk-in attic, which doesn't have air conditioning. So I just didn't want anything to get ruined. So I stuck with the polyfill and poly pellets. And I want to say this one's called X's and O's, or Hugs, or I'm sorry, Hugs and Kisses. I think this one is named. I added some vintage cloud rickrack into the seam there. And I'm not sure where I got that cute fabric with the little hearts. And this one, I changed the thread colors on because I just like that aqua color. If I was to put this in my kitchen or eating area, the walls in here are aqua color. And then I used more of the lighthearted fabric there. So all of these I had stitched in 2023, but I just fully finished in April. And if you would like to try to win the Love Notes pattern, leave the comment with love in it, the word love. And for the giveaways, I think we know all of the rules. Be over 18, please be a resident of the United States, don't say the word giveaway. These pillows are from Hands On Design. They're called Twice Blessed. And they included wool to make the wool pennies here. I had started stitching these last fall of 2023, and I had ran out of thread. I think it was this green thread. And then I didn't pick them back up until I think it was February, and I finished stitching them, and then I just fully finished them. I just had that fabric in my stash to finish them. These don't have the poly pellets, it's just the polyfill. All right, this next one is Annabella's Spring cross-stitch colorways, and I chose to order the finishing kit because I just loved the fabric that came with it that was shown, and I didn't read the description all the way of the what's included in the finishing kit, but it included 5 fat 8s of this collection, and it doesn't say on here what that was. I think it was a Three Sisters by Moda. Anyhow, here is my finish. I finished it pretty much just like their cover, except I used a covered button there instead of regular button. I just love the color. This is stitched on an Aida. I think it's an 18 count. I think it was an 18 count Charles Craft Do. And it doesn't really show. I mean, it's a bluish, but it has some green and yellow in it. It's just really pretty. When I went to finish this off, I knew I wanted to finish it like Elaine from Annabella's had it. However, I didn't know what I was going to do for the stuff. And I was like, oh, that's a lot of polyfill to have to stuff in there. And then I started looking at pillow forms on, different websites. And I was ready to order one, although I didn't want to pay. I forget how much it was. It would have been $20 with shipping. And then I remembered I had some pillow forms from, is it Pine Mountain? They have the pillow forms, and then you can make just like a slip cover that they've already pieced together with Aida in the center, and you just stitch on it and tie it on. I think they're called Tie One On in their series. But anyways, I remember that, and I left an opening in here just big enough to cram that pillow form through, and it actually is just the perfect size for it. I think it ended up being 7.5 by 10.5. That was just luck on my part. Okay. Then, let's see, was it last weekend? 24 hours of cross stitch was announced, and I usually don't follow that, but I saw some people posting about it, and I was like, well, might as well start something new. And I take that all back. This is not part of the 24 hours of cross stitch. The Annabella's piece was a 24 hours of cross stitch because I had this finished my last video. I just didn't fully finish it. I fully finished it this time around. And I just, this came with the wool applique that I did for Birdie's ear over here. And then this chenille is a chenille yarn that I found at Joann. It was hard to decide what color to put on here because there's so many. I would have liked to have brought out the reds, even the white, and then I thought about the yellow for the beehive and the bees, but I decided to use black, and I like it. Okay, the other one I did for 24 hours of cross stitch was this one, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star by Cotton Pixels. This cat is beaded, and this is all back stitched, the curtain. And again, we have some beads here. This is Rainbow Gallery Petite Treasure Braid. And then over here we have Kreinik Blending Filament. The star is a Mill Hill Treasures, and it was a suggested embellishment. I'm going to give this to my daughter for her birthday. I had some of this star fabric, and again, this is the same chenille that I found at Joann's. But I did stitch this with all of the recommended fibers, and I think it's also the recommended, I think this is linen. I want to say it's Twilight Color Linen, which was the recommended. Twinkle Little Star. And I didn't say on here, but I said it in the last video. This is stitched on the ABC. This is by a Fairy Wool in the Wood, and it was a kit that included the fabric. And there's a bee charm on here that came in the little kit. And if you would like to win the chart, leave the comment with B in it. B-E-E, B. What else do I have in here? Oh, the other fat 8s that were included with this finishing kit, they're equally pretty. I like the ones that that were shown on the cover photo. Use them for something else. Please give me a moment while I reorganize that. So Mania is upon us, and I said that I wasn't going to be taking part. Has anyone else decided if they're going to be doing a lot of new starts or working on what they already have started? I'm going to leave a comment and let me know just what you have planned for May. Get rid of that container. All right, this was a start and finish here. Let's see, poking out. This is Stitching with the Housewives Sayings of the Season, which is an exclusive to Fat Quarter Shop. I just love the pink that was in here. So pretty. If I heard correctly, Priscilla announced that the next one will be strawberry themed. And I don't know when that's going to be released. I want to say in May. That's what I've heard as a May release. And I had this box. I've had it for a while. My mother-in-law gave it to me on the back. I left it like this in case I wanted to switch it around for whatever reason and not have a cross stitch on it. It says he makes all things beautiful in their own time. And I had put these florals just on a floral foam. Actually, there's 2 pieces of floral foam glued together, so I can just take them out and change it. And somebody had mentioned the magnets. I use name badge magnets on this. Get off here. They're very strong. Got that on my straight. And if you would like to win this, since the chart is not going to be released for a year, I have one available. Use the word spring in your comments. I think those are all of my fully finishes. I have one more finish that is on my scroll rod here. It's the Cottage Garden Samplings Year in the Woods series swan, and this was part of my whip go. When I had started this for the month, I just had, if you can see it, I just had these rings here, the water, so I was able to get the full swan design finished. To get this out of the way, for plans for May, whip go numbers were announced, and the bear is one that came up. Let me scroll down. If I remember right, I had more of the bear done than the swan, so I really hope I get him done. It took me about 10 days to complete the swans from practically nothing. Wish I had something incredible to tell you while scrolling here. Just silence. My dog's walking back and forth. You might be able to hear the tiptoe on the floor. I do have more of the bear done. I think it's good that I don't look at this every month to see what exactly I had done or not done on them. So this is the bear that I want to complete for part of Whip Go in May. Let me see if I can hold this and also search for the chart that shows the cover photo. Here it is. So just the rest of his bottom, the reeds in the house. I should be able to get that done in 10 days. All right, let me refer back to my calendar. Okay, this isn't really part of my stitching, but our eclipse that we have wasn't apparent at all where we were. It was very cloudy all day, and I was working in the yard cleaning up, and I'm glad I did, because we had really bad storms move through here in Louisiana 2 days after the eclipse. And our skies were so dark that day. They were darker than the day of the eclipse. And our power went out for a little bit, and I was able to work on my wool applique because I didn't need great lighting for it. I was just able to use the daylight from the windows. And we must have had a small tornado move through our property. I had never seen wind that crazy. And our neighbor behind us, he texted to make sure that we were okay. And I don't know if it was a small tornado or if it was just wind from a tornado that did touch down not far from us. But I could not imagine actually being in the tornado that touched down in Slidell, Louisiana, which is 20 to 30 minutes from us, depending where you go. That was rated as an EF1, and it was very destructive. And I would much rather go through an earthquake than go through a tornado like that. It was quite scary. All right, my things are falling on the floor. All right, my birthday start. I had wanted to start this for a while. It's this I know from Plum Street Samplers. Since I had only worked on it for a couple hours, not even a couple hours, I don't know. It's just a tiny little start. And the directions recommend coffee dyeing some of these fibers, which I'm not going to do. I had messaged her name's Autumn, is it Yellow Rose Stitcher, about it because she had started it and she said that there's a slight difference in dyeing. I just decided to keep the brighter colors and probably can't see it on here. I'm stitching this on a 32 count linen from Crazy Hamster. Her name is Oksana. Let's see. If you were interested in looking her up, she usually sells on the Stash Download Facebook site, but she's also on eBay. I think her name is Oksana. I will try to remember to put a link to her eBay shop, eBay store. Okay, is that all my cross stitch for the month? Other than I discussed a little bit last month, I mentioned that I wasn't going to pick up one of my other WIPCO projects because my daughter wasn't really interested in it much longer or any longer. So I was going to work on Flowers of the Holy Night. And I did work on it yesterday, and I still have today to work on it, but I didn't get much done yesterday. Hopefully I'll get a little bit more done tonight. So before, these two petals were not filled all the way in, and then I added this last night. So I filled these two in last night, and I started on this next one over here. And I'm holding this board here, and it's not going to make any difference. I'm stitching this on the called for 28 count white Jovelin, I believe it is. I like working on it, it's very nice. And just the way that the thread flows, I love working on this piece. I should have worked on it some more, but I was so interested in making new starts and fully finishing. Okay. Oh, and then I can't forget, I want to talk about Birdie's Year. You see it behind me here. I just have it on clipped on a rod. I wasn't sure how to display little quilt blocks because I never made one before. And I didn't necessarily want to hang it on the wall. So I have, this is one of Chantal's stands. So this is, I guess you would call it quilt pieced here. But here's my wool applique, and there's the embroidery, which these are lazy daisies, which I just call them a daisy chain because they're all linked together. And this isn't a true binding. The directions were fairly easy to follow. Sorry about that. I don't know what I was talking about. Anyways, this is not a true binding. You sew it all together almost like a pillow. And on the back, there's a seam that goes down the center, and then you leave an opening here to turn it right side out. And I just did a ladder stitch, and I mean, I did such a good job, if I don't mind saying so. But I just love how this turned out for my first applique. It's just so cute and turned out so much better than I had even hoped it would. So that's February's block for Birdie's Year. And this is designed by Bonnie Sullivan. And my kits that I'm getting are from Always in Stitches. All right, now for May plans, and we can wrap this. Oh, I wanted to show a few other things that I was able to get done in April. I have posted this on Instagram. My husband's grandmother had this in her storage unit. It's a cute wooden wheelbarrow that had stain on it that was all this dark color, and I ended up painting it aqua and white. Decided to leave the wheel as it was because I couldn't take this apart to stain it. And I thought it would be cute to put pillows in, cross-stitch pillows. It's pretty large, all that foam from the foam block, but for right now I just have some inexpensive flowers in it. And then when I was putting this the sign post holder together, there's another one that I thought might be a little bit taller, but it's about the same height. So here's another one. And again, these are available from Chantel. Chantel's 141 Design Company. And there's also a smaller one if you just want to hang a small ornament from it. And I saw Erin Elizabeth with her lavender series. What is the name of the bee? She has a stitch along going with Helen D. I can't think of the name. Anyway, I really loved how she had done the crackle finish on this Paisleys and Polka Dot piece. And I had originally purchased this for stitching with the housewives. So it will still go with the stitching with the housewives, but I just wanted to do the whole finish on it, like Erin Elizabeth had shown on her Flosstube. And I really don't like to point out flaws. I just thought I'd throw this out there for anybody that had the same difficulty. I had purchased the crackle finish from, it's either Folk Art or Americana, I can't remember. And I went to paint the second coat of the on top of the crackle, and it didn't crackle at all. I had, in the past, I had used just white glue to do a crackle finish, and so that's what I did. I kind of just did a light sand on it, and I did white glue, and it didn't crackle exactly how I had planned. I mean, it's still, the white is more evident. It's not as evident with the green, which there isn't a lot of the green that shows. But yeah, first time I had a crackle failure. But while I was crackle finishing, I decided to do this little fence from Paisleys and Polka Dots. Also, I don't know what I'm going to put in on this. This little heart came with it also. I'll talk about this now. I thought about, this is the Botanical Bee by Hands on Design. And while I started stitching on this, I thought maybe it can go in here, but I have more flowers in mind, and I haven't found a chart yet. Anyways, back to this. I'm going back and forth here. This is a stitch along with Shari Moss and for the month of May, and the first week is to complete the bee body. And since yesterday was the start of the first week of May, I decided to get started, and I completed the first week's work. I'm using DMC instead of weeks, which is what's on the chart, and this fabric is 32 count. It says 32 count blue Azure Lugana. It's not the called for, which is Juniper by Fabrics by Stephanie. From the photo, this looks like the correct fabric, or at least the correct color, close to it. But the fabric is actually a really light green, which is pretty, but I figure since I had this in my stash already, I was just going to use it. So anyway, I will be working on the rest of the design stitch along through the month of May. I figured I could keep up with it. I had it already in my stash and I wanted to stitch it. Now please tell me if anyone else has problems with hands-on design patterns. I had to blow this up on the copier. I have a horrible time with her charts. I use magnifiers and it's just, I go cross-eyed with them. And I had noticed that on a piece that I had stitched in 2022, and I think that was the first time I had stitched one of her charts. It's not a complaint, I'm just, is there something with my focusing as far as ADD, and you know, my vision is fine, I have it checked every year. The magnification is just part of being over 45, I guess, but yeah, as far as just following the chart, it's difficult for me. What else do I want to do in May? Oh, I'm not done with April still, what I accomplished. Another wood finish that I had done is the Paisleys and Polka Dots backer for stitching with the Housewives Blessed Beyond Measure, which I'm not going to get to this in May, but I really like the aqua that's in it. Again, my kitchen has that color, and this stripe matches perfectly. The red, I was trying to figure out how I could change the red accent, but with my kitchen, I don't see what I can do to change it, so I'm just going to go with the red. It's fine. Not everything has to match. I have so much eclectic stuff in my house because I like a lot of everything that it doesn't have to be matchy-matchy. So anyways, I had completed all the wood painting. I just haven't put these on ribbons yet. Aren't these cute, these little measuring spoons? Turn these the right way. And one more. That's ready to go when I get the stitching done. And then one more piece. This is Paisleys and Polka Dots. It goes on her ladder. Hangs from the display shelf ladder. All right, that's all the wood. And since we're going into May, okay, I had completed the February block for Birdie's year. So yesterday morning I went and I cut out the pieces for the March block, which is going to look like this. Not only did I cut out the pieces, I was able to get them fused on. Here we go. So I'll be working on stitching on this. I have the border pieces all cut out also. And this has a different stitch for the accent here. This is called a cretan stitch, C-R-E-T-A-N. I had to look it up on YouTube on how to do it because it's not described in here. It doesn't look difficult, it's just something I hadn't ever done before. And going back to this, I don't want to show, I guess there's really no patterns to show on what I was going to say. putting the border together on this was very well described on how to do it. When it came to adding these borders, because there's directions in here on how to make this into just one huge wall hanging with all 12 blocks together. But then you have these separate pieces for the binding, which isn't really binding. And it says, for the directions, it says to complete the project as shown, which is just the block, refer to finishing on the page 58. You will need the strips and the measurements that they had cut, and also the rectangles that get joined together on the back. You turn to page 58. And it says to sew the 2 rectangles for the back piece here. So these are 2 rectangles. And then cut the batting, and then place the quilt top, which would be this, and you make a sandwich. But I started doing that, and I was like, well, what about these strips? It doesn't say what to do with them. So I ended up just like, you know, oh, well, I need to sew those on. But I looked through the book, and I was like, why doesn't it say to actually sew those on? Because this isn't a new publication. This was published back in when was it? Why don't I see a date? I want to say it was like 2011. It's been out a while. Oh, not that old. 2020. But it's been out a while. I'm like, why hasn't there been something added in there for, you know, the full directions of it? Especially, I'm a beginner. I wouldn't have known. So, anyways. Sorry for the little rant. Anyhow, isn't this going to be super cute? Here's Birdie, and once I get the eye sewn in and everything, and the wings on the bee, it's going to be just another so cute. All right, the rest of May. Oh, you know what? I forgot this piece. I am back. I started a project in the car one day when I was waiting for my daughter at dance. I had stitched one of these hedgehogs and a rabbit by this company, Alyssa. But I wanted to stitch this other one so I can group them all together when I fully finish it. So I had made a small start on that, and I don't even know if that's facing the right direction. I think it goes like that. So that was another start. Now I think I'm officially done with talking about what all happened in April. Let me continue on with May plans. All right, WIPCO was called. I already talked about Cottage Garden Samplings Bear. My other WIPCO piece that was called is Octopus Treasure Cave by Chatelaine. And I have not worked on this since Mania of 2022. I completed the octopus then. And so I would like to get another 10 days stitching time for WIPCO this go around and see how much I get accomplished. I love chatelaines. It's just, I feel like I need to keep it out and make it a focus piece. And I'm having trouble doing that with anything anymore. It's like, I just want to start everything. Okay, we have Mother's Day in May. So I want to stitch the Proper Stitcher's Strength and Dignity. I made a few stitches in this because I'm going to be using DMC instead of the called for, and I wanted to make sure it showed on this fabric. it's a really, really, really pale pink. It's Picture This Plus Petals, and this is a 32 count. But the lightest pink will show. It shows better in person than on the camera. All right, so that's going to be Mother's Day. And then we have Memorial Day in May. And I had, was it Facebook? I had seen Facebook, post on Facebook where someone had completed this funky chicken with the long legs. So it's Patriotic Chicks by Cross Stitch Wonders. When I had went searching for this design, everything Cross Stitch had it for sale, a paper chart. Then you had to pay for shipping, and I really didn't see anything else that I wanted to order at that time. So I reached out to, there was an Etsy store for Cross Stitch Wonders, but what I saw on there for sale, she's just gone a completely different way. I think a lot of what she has is stitching on wood, it's cool. It's a cool concept, quick finish. But I was looking for this, and it wasn't available for PDF. And so I just reached out to the seller. Her name is Marcia. And my username on Etsy is Alaska referenced. And so she asked me if I had still lived in Alaska. And, I told her I didn't. But anyway, she had lived in Juneau for many years, and she had done a lot of designing of landscapes and not anything small. I ended up finding, I should have brought it out here. It was a landscape with a moose on it, and it's beautiful. But anyhow, we had corresponded back and forth a number of times. She's a really nice lady, Marcia, and she doesn't live in Juneau any longer. But anyways, with the correspondence, she said that, from one Alaskan to another, she ended up just sending this to me for free. And I want to stitch this guy with the short little stubby legs. And I was going to stitch it on, I think this is Picture This Plus. It's called Heroic. And I know I have a linen piece for is it a Rosewood Manor chart? I think it's called Old Glory. But this is Ada. It is 16 count. And it has just some subtle streaks of blue and red in it. But that's what I want to stitch the little chicken on. And I have no idea how I'm going to display it, but I want to get it stitched. And also, the free space for Whip Go was called, and I figured I would make a patriotic start for that also. And I had America by Blackbird Designs in mind for one of the patriotic holidays, or for when that free space was called. Excuse me, those itches. Looking at the directions, the chart, all of this is filled in, all of this background, and down here. And I don't really want to do that. At first, and this is also, why don't I have the side here? This was stitched on, well, the model was stitched on a 10 count canvas. And I think that I had found a 20 count vintage country mocha, and I didn't like the color of it. So I was thinking about stitching that on this Heroic also. And I don't know if I want to stitch it on the Ada though. I ended up getting on 1, 2, 3 stitch because that's where I found this. And I looked for a 28 count and a 32 count. in the heroic to see if I like it any better. And Lyneen from Always in Stitches, she had stitched America. She finished it, I think it was last year. And I went back and watched their old Flosstubes to find out what she had stitched hers on. And she had stitched hers on 25 count mushroom. But she had done all the back stitching in here. So I just thought with this, if the higher count even weave was just as subtle with the streaks in it, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch it on there. I believe this has been re-released, might be in a book, but this was a unicorn of mine for a long time. I really wanted to stitch it, and then when I saw Lyneen stitching it, I went on a more serious hunt for it, and I found it. I know a lot of people like Blackbird designs. I think they're a little more primitive than what I usually like, but I like the design of the flag on here. And I will stop rambling on about that and move ahead. Is there anything else or may? Try to look through my checklist. No, that is it. All right, the last thing that I have to talk about is the giveaway from last time. Just checking through my notes real quick. Yes, I only had 2 people that made comments that included the word sheep to win Wilhelmina, and the winner of Wilhelmina is Stephanie Wingett. Please reach out to me either on Instagram, or you can find my email in my channel description. We've been in touch on Instagram before, so feel free to reach out with your address then, and I'll get it off to you. And what else do I have going on in May? My oldest son is graduating. The state of Mississippi makes homeschooling fairly easy. But the parents have to be good record keepers for transcripts. So I was able to get the transcript all in order today, had to get that notarized and sent off to his college that he's going to be attending this coming fall. And we have his graduation ceremony in a couple weeks. My daughter's dance recital is the week following his graduation ceremony. So it's going to be a busy month with rehearsals and all of that. We also have to do the practice for graduation, and that is down on the coast in Biloxi. We don't have really an organized homeschool group here in our little area. So busy with those things, but I think I can still get a lot of stitching done.
Way you do it. You play the guitar on the MTV. That ain't working. That's the way you do it. Money for nothing and your chicks for free.